Lagos State government has revealed that only 15% of property owners in the state have obtained building approvals and just 75% have complied with the state's physical planning laws. This was disclosed during a media briefing ahead of the first ever physical planning summit that was aimed at addressing the urban development challenges in Lagos. According to the Commissioner for Fiscal Planning and Urban Development, Dr. Oluyinka Olumide, the low compliance rate presents a significant challenge at the state's infrastructure and development. He emphasized the urgent need to review the current urban development plans to address infrastructure demands and maintain Lagos status as the megacity. Okay. The summit themed Thinking Lagos, a new vision for a regional and integrated megacity, will take place on October 15 and 16. Bring it together. Okay, then let's go on to the statement that was made about only 15% of property owners in Lagos actually have approval. And listening to who is making this statement, you already know that it is credible to the extent that it actually is. All right, I'd like to bring you in on this one first, Elino.
First and foremost, let me digress a little.
Okay.
Lagos can be likened to Canada, where you have over 88% of the population in Canada as foreigners. Now, whom are these people that comprise of the Lagos population? These are also foreigners. What is the geographical formation of Lagos as a state and as an entity? You know, if you look at this, you will see over time that over 70% or 75% of Lagosians are non-Lagosians. Like Mr. President, Mr. President is not a Lagosian, but he resides in Lagos. And after staying in Lagos over a period of time, you'll be considered as a Lagosian, which means you can be called on to participate in politics or its orbit, you know. So to that effect, people just went into Lagos, done certain areas, began to build in waterways without sea of O's and all of that, which has accumulated to where we are. And the question to us is, how far are we going to go with this? Now you look at Lagos under bureaucracy. From time immemorial, the Nigerian senatorial has issues with statistics. They just told us it is 25%. How are we sure it is really 25%?
That 15% of property owners?
Yeah.
Okay.
15%. You know? Now, looking at this now, whom are these 15% that are compliant? You know? What are their classes? Whom are they? Where is the geographical area accrued to all of this? You know, if we embark on a pathfinding mission towards this, you find over time that there's an empirical diversification of human influx into Lagos. And with this, Lagos that used to be termed as the mega city is now a free for all, where people just.
So you don't think people should be allowed to come into build in Lagos? Is that what you're saying?
I think there's what we call due process.
Okay.
What's happening in Lagos cannot happen in most of the other states. You know? You see people living in shanties under the bridge, and people are even taking rent for their fellow citizens to live under the bridge. That is Lagos for you. Like my dad will always say, Lagos is a no-man island.
Well, you know that's not peculiar to Lagos anyway. But let's hear from Mufasa. What do you think about this story?
Well, I would like to draw my inference from what my senior brother here said, that talking about statistics and, you know, getting this kind of reports, like you rightly asked, how do you arrive at this percentage when we do not have an accurate record of the number of people that we have in this country, even in Lagos State? Then, looking at the numbers of building and those who have violated, they laid down rules and regulations as to regards building, setting up of structure. I think what we just saw, or the report just stated, is a recipe for disaster, because already we are having, you know, incessant cases of building collapse. Yes. You know, it's quite unfortunate that we'll be getting this. Now, the question now is, as a government, what exactly has the administration of the current leadership of Lagos done to strengthen that institution? Like you rightly said, it's not peculiar to Lagos alone. You know, we also have cases of people violating building plans and all of that. And we have offices that are saddled with the responsibility to ensure compliance.
And sometimes we have these buildings being inspected. That's
what I'm saying now. So it's either, you know, they've been compromised, allowing builders to circumvent the system, putting the lives of the people in harm's way. Because it's not enough for you to say, okay, I want to build, assuming in fact, you don't even get any approval, because the report said they don't even have approval. So it's not a case of getting approval for a bungalow or a story building, and you went as far as building a high-rise building, like maybe a 3-story, or, you know, something that, you know, is not permitted in that particular location. But in this case, no approval at all. And these structures have been standing for a very long time. So, you see, it is something that is not just coming to give us the situation reports. We want to see punitive measures meted out on those, because 50% is just a handful of the population of people who have set up structures in Lagos. We are talking about out of 100%, only 15% are in compliance with laid down rules and regulations. So the system is faulty, and the government should not remove himself from blame, because it is something that has been happening over the time and over the years, and nothing has been done about it. And I will not be surprised if this is just a kind of you know, just trying to mesmerize the people with this kind of report, and nothing will be done about it.
Earlier this year, we heard a lot of reports about buildings that were brought down in Lagos. In fact, it was trending online where people were making videos and saying, oh, they're building down our houses and all of that. So saying nothing has been done about it, don't you think that is a measure?
Now, you see, when you bring down buildings of violators, what now happens to those people saddled with the responsibility to ensure that those buildings are not even there in the first instance? My friend here said something which was, for me, you know, very, very pathetic, that even people that take sojourn, people that live under the bridges, people that live in shanties, you see people going there to collect rent, you know, people going there to collect one or two things, who are agents of government.
Whose land is under the bridge?
Under the bridge is not even a place that should be called you know, an habitable space. People are not meant to live under the bridge. But in this case, it is well structured. You see, they have even doors and windows. You know, structures attached to the bridge, and people have been living there for ages. So it took intervention. So for me, it's not as if they just found out. It could just be that let the government just come out to show that they are doing something. When you destroy, demolish buildings of some persons, what now happens to the people who allow these things to be set up in the first instance? And these are agents of government. So as they are coming out to tell us that almost 75% of the structures in Lagos does not have approval. Because that is the implication of this report. That if 15%, and if you minus 15% from 100%, what will be remaining is 75%. And if we have 75% structures, 85%, sorry, forgive my mathematics. You know, it's been long that we did calculations and all of that. It's problem of this
You've
country.
Been spending money.
Yes, so the head is, so 85% of the structures in Lagos are, you know, are inhabitable. Because if you don't have approval, it simply means that anybody living in those places, they are living there at their own peril. And it's quite unfortunate.
You know, I'm going through this story. I saw a part where they said that we are committed to carrying out our duty, and looking at this calculation and this percentage, it begs the question, what duty are we committed to carrying out that we allowed it to get to the extent where 75% of the buildings do not have approval? Last I checked, those buildings may have been supervised. People don't just start up buildings. There are processes that they should actually follow. Nobody just stands and then just erects a building without following due process.
I think I'm going to start donning my jerseys here with the inscription corruption. Gross corruption is grossly responsible for all of this. Now, to this effect, I can tell you it's also likened to the government putting square pegs in round holes. Now, there are people heading all of these devices. Now, the question now is, who are you? Where are you coming from? What is your portfolio as a graduate? Are you grounded enough to permeate all of this? People don't just carry out pathfinding missions towards all of this. The next thing you will hear Mr. A or Mrs. B have been given this lump-sided appointment. At the end of the day, you will see that they are unable to deliver. Why? Because that is not their spectra, their area of specialization, which has been happening over time. And this is so appalling, and as a matter of fact, I'm calling all government agencies to do the needful to make sure such persons are weeded out of the system so that we can have a bureaucracy wherefore we have the true light in terms of technology, technical know-how, and permissibility of how people should dwell.